Hello and welcome to another bonus episode of Sports and Songs podcast. My name is Dan. Welcome to the show. Today, Minnesota Twins roster projections, St. Paul Saints AAA roster projections. Today is the 25th of March, big league opener tomorrow for the Twins in Baltimore. Now that we've got the roster set up, let's go through the projections here. What's going to happen? Who made the big league roster? Who's going to fall down at AAA, and who are the question marks coming in? The Saints open their season Friday night on the road. The Twins open their season tomorrow on the road. So let's take a gander here of what we've got. We've done this bonus episode here monthly during the off season and have been updating it as the season or the off season has gone on. So what we've got here, kind of small to read, but 26-man roster for the Twins to the left on the column. The one to the right of that is the AAA Saints, which has not been solidified yet. This is who we think is going to make the roster for AAA. They have until Friday to decide. They got to lock the roster in by Friday. I'm sure we'll hear that roster lock in Thursday afternoon or Friday morning. And then we've got the area here with the question mark to the right, and then the people falling off with injuries to the far right. Now, this is a little small to read, so let's do just the top section. Let's do the top section only so we can see everything clearly. Let's start with the Twins pitching SP 1 through 6. Those are starting pitchers 1 through 6. Major Leagues has 5. Saints typically go with 5 or 6 starting pitchers, as they do have an extra pitching slot for their roster. So we know that Joe Ryan will make the team there as the ace, and then we've got Bailey Ober, Taj Bradley, Simeon Woods Richardson, and Mick Abel. That's a pretty good, solid group there. Pretty good, solid group. Now we got Lopez hurt on the far right. We can see Lopez hurt out for the entire season. Matt Cantorino injured. He's out on a 60 days at least, and his unlucky trend with injuries continues. And I think this is the last year the Twins are going to be dealing with Cantorino, as he's going to probably just miss the boat. Nothing's really worked out for him injury-wise. Now we also have David Festa is going to start the year on the injured list, just a 15-day injured list for Festa. Then he'll work back in with the Saints and then be back up in the big leagues. There's been some talk of him moving to a reliever role. That could very well be, but for the purpose of this show, let's keep him in there as a starter. So the Twins are set with Ryan, Ober, Bradley, Woods, Richardson, and Abel. Abel did finish the big league season for the spring training, leading all major league pitchers in strikeouts. So he looked the sharpest. There's folks calling on him to be a projected Cy Young Award winner. Well, let's not go that far, but he could. Now, keep in mind, I did do a prediction a couple of years ago that Bailey Ober would eventually be in the running and win a Cy Young Award. Last year, that obviously did not happen. Look for him to get back into form. I like the way he looks here this year. Bailey will be good in that number 2 slot. Taj Bradley finished 4th in strikeouts in all of Major League Baseball for spring training. So we've got some good talent here with the starting pitchers. The other thing is, if these young guys and the starting rotation can go deep into these games, the continued question that we get about the relief pitching or the bullpen shouldn't play that big of a part of a role if the starters can go deep. So, which leads us to the Saints. I've got Sebi Matthews starting off as the ace, and then a bunch of prospects going down the list. Andrew Morris, Kendry Rojas, Connor Prelip, and John Klein, all as starters. And if they go with 6, look for them to bring up Seth Armstrong to be that 6th guy. He's in AA right now. That could be a factor. Right now, they're running light on starting pitching for rotation. So they may go with a 5-man rotation and an extra arm for relief. But if they do go with 6, let's just say Seth Armstrong might be the guy to bring up. Once again, when Festa gets back, that problem will be solved. Now let's go on to the relief pitchers for the Twins. Now this is official. This is not a projection. This is official. I've got these listed in alphabetical order. Banda, Funderburk, Kent, Laureson, Orzi, Rogers, Sands, and Topa. So those are the 8 guys. The Twins management said they're not really going to go with closers, setup guys, middle relievers, and I think that'll take its course to see where those guys end up. But right now, for the purpose of this show, those are the 8 in alphabetical order. The new guys: Banda's new, Kent is new, Laureson new, Orzi new, Rogers new. So 5 of the 8 are new faces. 3 of the 8 are faces and players that Twins fans will recognize, with Sands, Topa, and Funderburk. So what we've got here is a pretty good bullpen. There's been doubt. There's been some consternation on what are we going to do for the Twins bullpen. That's been a big question. And here's what they did. Let's skip over to this page here. Let's go number 1 with the age. Let's go now 1 with the age. If you look at these guys in the bullpen, what's the one thing we see in common here all the way down top to bottom for relievers? They're older veteran age guys. Banda 32, Funderburk 29, Kent 28, Laureson 27, youngest of the group. And then we've got Orzi, Rogers 35, Sands 28, Topa 35. So what the Twins did to construct this bullpen, I think, in the offseason and here in the spring training, is get a combination of guys that can pitch. All of these guys have big league experience. I'll repeat that. All of these 8 have pitched in the majors, some more than others, and some only a few times, but they have all pitched in the big leagues, and they're all up there in age. So I think the Twins management wanted to get some veteran guys in there, various levels of experience, but some older guys. So there's no youth, rookies, young cats in the bullpen. So I think that was looked at on that specific way. Now, Laureson, we have written down as new. He did spend some time with the Angels at the end of last year, and he's back with the Twins. So Twins fans may know him. The others, if you didn't watch any spring training games, some of these players may look new. Taylor Rogers, former Twin as well. He's back. And so those are the 8. Now, if that is the case, if these starting pitching and the rotation guys can go deep into the games, this bullpen crew won't be relied upon as much. Now let's go to one more thing I find interesting here. Here's the same 8, alphabetical order. All of them are right-handed except for 3. Now last year they stayed most of the season, if not all the season. The Twins used 2 lefties in the bullpen the entire year. Coming into this year, there was some thought the Twins may go with 4, but they have settled with 3. 3 lefties, 5 right-handed relievers. Make of it, what you will, but those are the 8 guys. A nice little mix-up, a nice little split. The thing I like best about the bullpen here with these, a mix of new guys to the organization and a mix of some wily veterans there that are on the mix, is that, keep in mind, the bullpen coach is going to be LaTroy Hawkins. LaTroy Hawkins, brand new in this role for the Twins this season as the bullpen coach, and look for him to be that intangible. This is an odd mix of relievers the Twins have, but look for them to build up their chemistry. LaTroy Hawkins will take them under his wing, and I think this will be a better group than most people are expecting. Let's repeat that. This will be a better group, in my opinion, than most people are expecting. I do like this relief staff. So those are the 8 there listed alphabetical. That should be pretty good. Now, if we go to the Saints, St. Paul Saints AAA, I've got also in alphabetical order, Altavilla, a new guy, Trent Baker, been with the organization for a while, Grant Hartwig, Corey Lewis, Christian McLeod, Marco Raya. Raya is the number 18 prospect, always been a starter. Look for him to make the team as a reliever and then work his way up. He should be in the big leagues this year as a reliever with this Twins organization if he gets going. He hasn't had much luck on the mound, but if they get him into that reliever role, look for him to make his way up. And then they've got Salazar and Jarrett Wharf. So there's 8 in the bullpen for the St. Paul Saints. Now, if you look on the far right side for injured, Travis Adams injured. 15 days he'll be out. And Mr. Merriweather picked up in the offseason. So when those two get healthy, look for them to come up into the AAA group, which means they will be knocking at the door fairly soon to take a spot or to get up there into that relief role. What we have left with, here's what we've left with in the question mark column, third column, alphabetical once again, top to bottom. Bash, Brito, Paredes, Quinones, and Ryan. Bash is new, Brito is new, Paredes has been with the organization, and Quinones is new. There's 4 spots of question marks. The Saints roster is sitting at about 35 players right now. They have to get down to 28 by Thursday or Friday morning. So there will be cuts. There will be guys moved down to AA. There will be transactions there. So that'll be what I'll mainly be watching here the next couple of days to see what happens, because there'll be some pitchers here on the outside looking in. Plus, you've got the 2 injured guys. I've got Ryan, new guy. Never has pitched in AAA. I do believe they'll move him down as a Rule 5 pickup to start him in AA. That's still going to leave 4 question marks for the pitching. Now, if you get a chance to get some home games in for the St. Paul Saints, watching that rotation should be very, very good. Regardless of what game you hit or who you're seeing there in that top rotation should be very good. The bullpen is much like the Twins. A mix of new guys, veteran guys, existing guys. It's kind of a mishmash. So that will evolve over this season as well. And there's guys coming up in the minors to be taking their spots down in AA as well. So once again, I like the depth. I like the roster construction here the Twins did. It's a lot of guys fighting for spots. But once again, too many pitchers. So we'll see here what they do in the days ahead when they announce that roster, opening day roster for the St. Paul Saints. So this takes care of the pitchers. Now, I do like the fact that we mentioned earlier, David Festa is only out a few weeks. He should be good to go. And then in the Saints, Zebby Matthews as the ace. Spent a bunch of time with the Twins last year in the big league level. I do think that he is going to have no problem up there. But I do, in my opinion, he needs work down at the Saints level. He needs to get comfortable. He needs to be pitching with confidence down in the AAA level. We haven't seen that. He's been struggling. So we'll see what Matthews does there. All the rest of those guys will be coming up. We got some real talent there on the starting rotation. So let's move now to the others, non-pitchers. Let's go to the non-pitchers. Let's start with catchers. We got Jeffers and Caratini, who made the spot as catchers. Caratini also plays first base. He's new, pickup in the offseason from the Astros, and we're all aware of Ryan Jeffers. So let's move to the right. The Saints, I believe they're going to go with David Benuelos and Patrick Winkle as their catchers, which leaves us in an interesting situation on the next column with the question mark. Alex Jackson signed this last year of $1.3 million to be the catch-up for the Twins. Did not make the Twins roster. He will. I don't think he can even make the AAA roster with his. I don't think he's got any options left. So they are stuck in a predicament with him. One mistake one could argue is that the Twins were too aggressive in the offseason, picking up those 2 big catchers. But I think in the back of their mind, they thought maybe one would get hurt, one would get injured, one wouldn't perform, and it would make an easy decision comes opening day to see what we do for catching. Well, that didn't happen. And now we're stuck with Alex Jackson. I don't think there's any room for him on the Twins roster at all. But we signed him. Now, is that going to be just dead money? I don't know what they're going to do with him, but we'll see here in the coming days. I also think they want to, perhaps trade him, trade bait. But that's going to be sketchy. It'll be sketchy to see what happens. Now, the other person there for a question mark is Noah Cardenas. Now, they can move him down to AA. That could be, he could certainly do that because they've got enough guys. But sometimes the Saints go with 3 catchers, and then in that case, Cardenas would make the spot, but I see him on the outside looking in right now because farther down we've got another catcher already in the Saints organization named Ricardo Olivar. Let's go to first base. Josh Bell for the Twins, new player picked up. Luke Keeschel, second base. I like him a lot. This is a guy with the superstar potential. Look at him to be on par with a Bobby Witt Jr. from the Royals. A flair, kind of a guy like that, superstar capability, quick on the base pass. He finished, I think it was 5th in the spring training among all batters in batting average. Luke Keeschel. Look for this guy to be a breakout star here for the Twins playing second base. Really good. Brooks Lee at short. I like him there without having to move and wonder about what position he's going to play defensively. They've always had these question marks if he's going to play second or third or maybe even first over the years. Now you get the first round pick coming up, solidifying his spot at short where he has only really played his career all the way through. This will be nice to see him. Look for Lee to have a breakout season as well, offensively, defensively. This guy will be fun to watch, I think, because now we've got him settled in to one position. Royce Lewis, former #1 overall pick, down at third base. His only question there is injury. There's been some talk this year on spring training about his effectiveness offensively. That will come. He's a #1 overall pick. That guy is loaded with talent. Once he gets into his groove, look out. Lewis will be fun to watch as well. Here's the Twins utility players that made the big league roster. Clemens. Clemens can play first. He can play second. He can play right. Great guy to have on. Now, his time at first base, I think, will be limited because, like we said, Josh Bell plays first. And we also have Tristan Gray that can play first. So we've got some options there. Clemens is a good backup regardless. Austin Martin, I've got him filled in here as a utility, typically an outfielder, but he can play second base behind Keeschel. He can play left field. I like Martin there in the lineup. He had a great year last year. He's another fun player to watch. Utility, Tristan Gray made the squad. Now, Tristan can play first, second, short, and third. Look for him to be a great backup altogether for the Twins as a utility role. Coming off he had a pretty good spring training. Look for him to do well as well. Now we got left field, typically DH, but it's going to be Larnach. Trevor Larnach did make the team. Buxton in center, Wallner in right, and James Outman as the fourth outfielder. Outman is good and made the team because he has no options. He's also a center fielder by trade. Him and Buxton could platoon. He could eat up a bunch of innings in the outfield and center field for Buxton. And Larnach and Martin can play left. We've got Cody Clemens and Wallner in right field. A lot of options. Once again, the roster construction, how the Twins have constructed this roster with all these plug-and-play guys with automatic backups built into this active roster. There's backups at each position all the way through this lineup. Look for Larnach to be a DH. Look for Caratini and Bell to be DHs. And Jeffers on days that he doesn't catch. Lots of options. Now, Trevor Larnach is going to make the big league roster with the Twins. Look for his life with the Twins here to be short-lived in the organization. He is going to be trade bait big time. In the opening, I would call it the first 10 days of the big league season. Look for a major league team, a contender team, a good team, to have an outfielder that gets tripped up, hurt, ankle injury, leg injury, knee injury, banged up to some extent in the outfield, or a DH. And look for the Twins to be on that phone right away making a deal, because a team like that is going to be eating up the talents of Trevor Larnach just like that. He can jump in and play left field and right field, mainly as a veteran player, as a DH, a guy that can get it done. That's going to be trade bait. Another team will be happy to get him. Twins will be able to get someone in return. And Larnach's on the team right now as excess baggage, excess. They've sandbagged on the outfielders, and now they're starting the season with one too many. They can't send Larnach down to AAA, so he has to make the team with the Twins. Twins are stacked in the outfield, though, so there's guys ready to come up, and a quick call to the minor leagues. Saints is going to fill that spot there. So Larnach is extra right now, extra baggage. Look for the Twins to make some good coin or good prospect or a player in return if a team needs Larnach. Could be going out the door soon. Buxton will be there in center. Wallner finished the year in spring training batting .333. Known as a power hitter, strikeout guy, Wallner actually batted .333 in the spring. Boy, he got on base a lot. He should be fun to watch this year. Outman finished the year with 8 stolen bases in the spring. That was good for third best in the major leagues. He is quick, can cover a lot of ground in center field and on the base paths. He can also play left and right, but by nature, Outman is a true center fielder. I like to have him stick there. Now let's go down to the Saints roster. AAA. Let's go to first base. Wagaman. Eric Wagaman made the spot here for the Saints. And now did not make it with the Twins, but he's a first baseman. They also say he can play third. Take that with a grain of salt. He's typically your prototypical 6'4" first baseman. So if he's going to go down with the Saints and be the everyday guy there, my question mark now is Aaron Sabato. What happens with Sabato? Former first-round pick for the Twins. I thought he was going to be the everyday player there at first base for the Twins. If something happens with Wagaman or if he's injured or cut, look for Sabato to step into that role. But right now, Sabato could be another trade bait candidate, trade bait. Twins as an organization, in my opinion, I don't think they like him. Never really was a prospect. They didn't have him high on the list. He hit for power last year and extra base hits and plays a decent first base. So there's a question mark him written there in all bold letters, big giant question mark. Right now he's depth as well. He's extra baggage at first base. Wagaman can easily do that day-to-day basis. Second base for the Saints, I've got Ortega. Shortstop, the Twins have already announced that they will use Culpepper. Kalen Culpepper, the number 2 prospect in all of the Twins farm system at short. Look for him to be the everyday shortstop and really work his way up and get the feel for the game at the AAA level. He could come up late in the year, but more likely 2027 with the big league team. I don't see Culpepper making the jump already this year to the big league with Lee there at shortstop and with Tristan Gray as well behind him. Third base every day, look for Tanner Schobel. Utility guys, Arcia for the Twins, Kreidler, and Olivar. Olivar plays outfield and catcher. I've got him sitting here in the utility position just because I think that fits in well. Olivar does give the Saints that third backup, third string catcher, which I think once again spells trouble for Noah Cardenas. Alan Roden should have been on the big league roster for Larnach in left field there by the numbers game and options that Roden has left. He slipped down to AAA and will start the year as the left fielder. Boy, he looked good playing defense, offensively, getting his at-bats, doing well. He should be every day with the Twins, in my belief, in that left field spot. I do like him out there. No room for him. He's got to get moved down to AAA. So Roden will start the year at AAA. Look for him not to stay too long down there. But now look who we've got in center and right field. 2 prospects. Rodriguez and Gonzalez, number 4 prospect and number 7 prospect. I think if Rodriguez starts the season there in center field, to make room for him, it's my belief they're going to put Walker Jenkins on injured reserve, maybe a 15-day injured reserve. He's a number 1 prospect as you see him there on the far right. Jenkins, if they move him to injured list for 15 days, that'll give room for Rodriguez to come up and get all the playing time there in center field while Jenkins gets back to full strength. Gonzalez will be in right. That leaves Kalai Rosario in a predicament as a no spot for him. 29 prospect. An easy fix there would be to just shove him down to AA and have him start the season with Wichita, which could very likely happen. But right now, I don't see a room. don't see any room for him there. As a fourth outfielder spot, it's probably going to go to Fedko, Kyler Fedko. They've been working him out at first base, and he's another backup that can play first, which really spells doom for Mr. Sabato. But I think Fedko will make the team there for the Saints as a backup first baseman and an outfielder that can pretty much play any position out there. The new guy picked up Spain, a right fielder on the Rule 5. I've got as the fifth outfielder. Now, here's the question. Spain, I don't think, has spent any time in AAA. They could move him down to AA and start the season and get regular playing their time in AA in the outfield instead of AAA. And then there'd be room to bring up Kalai Rosario. But here's the question. Do you want to have three outfield prospects with five guys in three spots and having your prospects spend a lot of time on the bench? You got Fedko, you got Rosario, Rodriguez. So what do you do there? You got Alan Roden. When you got prospects, you'd rather have them see them play every day, get them in the groove, as there's no room to move up to the big leagues this year, because I think Roden's going to be the first guy up. If there's an injury or a trade at the big league level, you're going to see Roden go up. But Jenkins in 15 days will be back playing center field, so that squeezes out Rodriguez. Rosario won't have a spot to go. I don't see Spain spending any time in AAA to start with. Fedko will, but may spend most of his time playing first base. So they're in a predicament, but a good predicament. They've got excess outfielders and guys coming up through the minor leagues as well. So the Twins are set up with some of their depth. And like I said earlier, some plug-and-play positions. Kreidler plays center field and shortstop. Olivar, outfield and catcher. Fedko, outfield and first base. And Walker Jenkins is the top prospect in the organization, the top center fielder. They want to try to get him maybe even to move to left or right, but they got to get him healthy, and he is by nature a true center fielder. But I don't see any of these prospects coming up this year at all. Even with a guy like Larnach moving out, Altman, if he doesn't work out as a fourth outfielder, you may see one of those guys, one of those prospects. But boy, right there, as you see the players in shading for outfielders, there's four shaded outfielders that are prospects in the Twins organization. And so another thought would be Kalai Rosario, potential trade bait there. I don't see an avenue for Rosario coming up to make it in the big leagues with the guys they've got there and the guys coming up there behind him. He could be another trade bait along with Sabato. So really, there's your projection of the players that made the Twins roster. They open tomorrow in Baltimore, a 3-game series. See how they do there against Baltimore. Baltimore hasn't been doing that well. They had an off season last year. Then the Twins go to Kansas City and will be the opponent for Kansas City Royals home opener for a 3-game series in Kansas City. And then they will be at home against the Tampa Bay Rays. Now the Rays, because they're getting their stadium fixed and updated, they're down in Tampa. They pushed them out and forced the Tampa Bay Rays to have their first 3 series of the season in 2026 all on the road. All 9 games on the road for the Rays. The lucky thing for the Twins is by the time that game comes up, the Twins series, they're going to face a pretty good Rays team, but they'll have spent about 2 weeks on the road here by the time the Twins face them. They might be petered out, tired, exhausted. Who knows if they're going to be bringing their best. Look for a Twins to steal a series there maybe at home against the Rays. And then the Rays will go back and start their opening season after getting 9 games under their belt before they even play 1 game at Tropicana Field. Please leave your questions down below and any comments that you have on this. Once again, my name is Dan. This is the Twins roster projection and the Saints projection for 2026. Thanks for listening.